You didn't lose your way. Your way was taken from you, quietly, systematically, starting before you were old enough to notice. And the people who built the world around you, they were counting on you never figuring that out. Here is what no one is talking about. Feeling lost has quietly become the most common emotional experience on the planet. Not sadness, not anger, a specific, nameless emptiness, even when everything on the outside looks completely fine. A 2023 Gallup study found that over 60% of adults worldwide feel emotionally detached from their own lives. Not occasionally, consistently. So the question is not what is wrong with you. The question is, what was done to you? Go back to 100 years. A person woke up knowing exactly who they were. Not because they had figured themselves out, because the world had already decided for them. Your family, your village, your trade. These were not just circumstances. They were your identity. You did not search for meaning. Meaning was already assigned. Then something collapsed. Industrialization dismantled the village. Urbanization scattered the family. The internet dissolved every remaining boundary. And in place of all of that structure, the world handed you one word: choice. Which sounds like a gift, until you realize what infinite choice actually does to a human brain. Psychologist Barry Schwartz studied this for years. His finding was unexpected. The more options a person has, the less satisfied they are with any of them. Not because the options are poor, because the mind never fully commits. It keeps scanning for something better. So you delay, you defer, you wait for a feeling of certainty that never arrives. And while you are waiting, life moves forward without you. But here is where it gets deeply concerning. That overload was not an accident. There are entire buildings full of engineers whose one job, every single working day, is to stop you from stopping. Not to inform you, not to connect you, to capture you. Former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris testified before the U.S. Senate on this exact issue. He said the technology is not neutral. It was specifically engineered to exploit the most vulnerable parts of human psychology. Variable reward, infinite scroll, social comparison built directly into the interface. Every single mechanism designed to make you believe that one more swipe might finally fill the gap. It never does, because the gap itself is the product. A person who feels settled does not need to check their phone 96 times a day. A person who feels lost absolutely does. Which means the system has a direct financial interest in keeping you exactly where you are. Searching, comparing, consuming, never arriving. Now layer something else on top of that. For the first time in all of recorded history, you are expected to construct your own identity completely from scratch. No template, no ritual, no community to hand you the answer. Just a blank page and the instruction: figure it out. Sociologist Zygmunt Bauman spent decades studying this shift. He called it liquid modernity, the idea that every structure that once gave life a fixed shape, marriage, religion, community, career path, has now become optional. Optional sounds like freedom. It also means standing at a crossroads in the dark with no map and no compass. The research is direct on this. The American Psychological Association reports that identity confusion has tripled in adults under 35 over the past 2 decades. Tripled. Not because this generation is weaker than the ones before it, because the conditions are structurally harder. Previous generations inherited a story about who they were. This generation was handed a blank page and told that the blank page is a privilege. And this is where it stops being a philosophical idea and becomes a physical reality. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a formal public advisory, not about a disease, not about a substance, about loneliness. He called it an epidemic. The research behind that advisory confirmed something deeply serious. Chronic disconnection affects the human body with the same force as consuming 15 cigarettes every single day. Your cardiovascular system, your immune response, your sleep, your lifespan, all measurably, documentably affected. Not because you are weak, because human beings are biologically wired for deep belonging, and the modern world quietly removed the conditions that make deep belonging possible. We replaced neighborhoods with notification feeds. We replaced rituals with content. We replaced elders with algorithms. And then we wondered why an entire generation feels like a visitor in their own life. If this is making you think, you are exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. At Deep Dive Stories, we go beneath the surface of the questions most people are too busy to ask. If you have not subscribed yet, do it now. It takes 2 seconds and it means you will not miss what comes next. Because what comes next in this story is the part nobody expects. There is one final layer to this, and most people never reach it. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist held in a concentration camp during World War II. He observed something in those conditions that overturned everything psychology had assumed. The people who endured were not the strongest. They were the ones with the clearest reason to endure. He wrote, A person can withstand almost any circumstance if they have a why. Now consider what the modern world does to your why. The moment you sit still long enough to ask a serious question about your life, a notification arrives, a video loads, a message lands, a recommendation appears. The silence is never allowed to last long enough to become useful. And in that silence, that is exactly where your why lies. The system does not want you to find it. A person with a clear purpose is extraordinarily difficult to distract. A person without one will stay on the platform indefinitely. Now here is the part nobody expects. The feeling of being lost is not a malfunction. It is the only honest response to a dishonest environment. Your discomfort is your nervous system telling you the truth. That this pace is borrowed. That this direction was handed to you. That something underneath all the noise is still waiting to be heard. Every person who has ever built a life that felt genuinely theirs, not performed, not optimized for approval, genuinely theirs, passed through this exact feeling first, not around it, through it. The discomfort is not evidence that you are behind. It is evidence that you have not yet settled, and refusing to settle, in a world that profits from your compliance, might be the most quietly powerful thing you can do. So the next time that feeling arrives, the hollow, directionless wait at 2 in the morning, do not reach for the distraction immediately. Stay with it for 60 seconds. Just 60. Ask it what it is trying to say. Because underneath the noise, underneath the comparison and the checklist and the curated version of a life you were sold, there is still a version of you that knows exactly what it wants. It has been trying to reach you for a very long time. The only question is whether you will stay quiet long enough to hear it, or whether the next notification gets there first. If this video made you stop and think, that reaction tells you something worth paying attention to. At Deep Dive Stories, every video goes somewhere most people are too distracted to look. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. The next video is already waiting. And if someone in your life needs to hear this today, send it to them. No explanation needed. They will understand.